Last time you were on our program, you gave this idea, and it kind of went viral on X after we spoke, but it was this idea of existing and being paid to exist through cryptocurrency. The idea that, you sitting there at work all day long, you're not necessarily being compensated for what you're doing, and you see crypto as being a solution to that. I got to be honest with you, I didn't quite get it.
Okay.
I want you to paint that picture for me and get me on board.
Yeah, well, so first of all, I think it's Bitcoin, not crypto. You know that, but just to clarify for the audience, it's Bitcoin specific.
Well, that's just your view that Bitcoin is the crypto that you're focused on.
Yeah, but I think Bitcoin is the money within the crypto sphere.
Okay.
And the point really here is this, Tim. Every single day, you make a decision on how to get compensated for your time, your energy, your effort, your labor. I'm watching you. I'm sitting in the behind the scenes. I'm watching you haul your butt. You're doing a great job on this show. You need to somehow capture the value you're creating for all of us here. And you need to somehow save that value so that tomorrow you can pay rent, you can get groceries, you can travel home and see your parents.
But that comes every 2 weeks in the form of a paycheck to me.
Right, but what the
Bloomberg sees the value in that. They hired me.
Correct, so you're going to get a paycheck in the form of dollars, but those dollars are losing value in the things that you need in your life, anywhere between 2 and 20%. Depends on what you want. You want a Caesar salad, 2%. You want a nice house, 20%. And so you need to find a way to persist and save and store that wealth. And you make a decision every single day, whether you know it or not. Unfortunately, because the dollar is being debased, everyone is a speculator here filming and watching us. And so you have to make that decision. And in my opinion, over the last 15 years, and it will continue to be so, Bitcoin is the best place to do that. Take the wealth you're creating today, bring it with you tomorrow.
Happy Bitcoin Friday, freaks. It's your host, Odell, here for another Citadel Dispatch, the interactive live show focused on actionable Bitcoin and freedom tech discussion. That intro clip was our good friend Jack Mallers, spreading the good word of Bitcoin on Bloomberg. It seemed like a relatively hostile interview, but he handled it pretty well. As always, freaks, Dispatch has no ads or sponsors. We're brought to you by viewers like you supporting the show with your hard-earned sats. The easiest way to do that is through Podcasting 2.0 apps like Fountain Podcast. You can find that in your favorite app store. Largest app of last episode was Pringle Mac with 5,000 sats. The other way you can support the show is by going to primal.net/Citadel or searching Citadel in your favorite Nostr app. The largest zap we got there was actually much larger. Ride or Die Freak Trazyn, Trazyn, said awesome rip as always, and he zapped 76,000 sats. Thank you, Trazyn. Unfortunately, our Nostr live chat is not working right now, but we will be piping in the chat from YouTube, Twitch, X, all the big tech socials. So if you do have questions, hit us with them, comments, whatnot. We have a great show lined up today. We have the co-founders of Frostsnap. We have Nick here. How's it going, Nick?
Going great. Great to be back. Looking forward to it.
Good to have you. Return guest. This is his third time on the show. And first-time guest, co-founder Lloyd. How's it going, Lloyd?
Very well. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Frostsnap, easy Bitcoin multisig, powered by Frost. Why should we care? Looks pretty cool.
Oh, lots of reasons. Yeah, we can paint a picture of like some of the problems with self-custody today and how Frostsnap sort of aims to solve these problems.
Well, let's first start with like the actual choice of design. The USB-C, they connect to each other, and then they connect to the phone, kind of in like a centipede type of formation.
Hardware speed.
Why'd you guys choose that versus Bluetooth or SD card or QR code or?
There's a pretty simple reason is that you don't as an architect or designer, you want to try and avoid batteries on the devices, and then the if you have a phone, your only source of power is the phone's battery. You just like to leverage that, and so you only have one USB port there, and so you just try and make more of them. So each device provides a USB port to the other one. And that's pretty much the only reason. It's like we want a mobile first experience, so you can just your mobile is the only thing you need to recover, to sign, to generate keys. And so we just found that was the simplest solution. Actually, it allows us to keep the devices small, very simple to manufacture. And at the beginning we were not Bluetooth also is like a whole. The point is, it's a perfectly good USB port there, right? And so, we may have to eventually use Bluetooth for iPhones because that's what other people have had to do. But for our very first edition, we were not really thinking like, at the beginning when we designed this thing, we're not even thinking like it's going to be a commercial product. It may have just been like an open source seed signer thing. It is open source, but it could have just been a community funded project, community organized project. So we wanted something that would like be very easy to manufacture for everyone, and also just work in a perfectly nice way. And that's what ended up becoming the Frostsnap Frontier. That's what you got in your hands, or that's the alpha version.
Yeah, I have like the original like testing version, 3D printed cases. I think it's easy to joke around about like the human centipede comparisons or whatever, but like it's actually a very intuitive, like it makes sense. Like you connect, like if you're going to do a 2 or 3 multisig, you connect 3 devices, you plug it into the bottom of the phone. It's like it's just intuitive brain wise, particularly probably for new users. With multisig, you got a lot of moving parts, you got a lot of things going on. But yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. Is famously Apple locks down that USB-C port, so you might be able to get around it. Like I know what Cold Card does is you can it creates a virtual disk. I don't know like how easy that is to do, but historically people have used like Ledger uses Bluetooth for their mobile connectivity to iPhone, and obviously the Cold Card Q, Seed Signer, Passport, like they use QR codes. But, so right now you're what, Android only, right? We're Android only. You connect it directly to USB.
Android, Linux, and Windows, and then Mac OS will be pretty soon, but iPhone is a while off yet.
Oh, so you do have desktop apps already?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what are we trying to solve here? Besides the fact that it's more intuitive, just physically, what are we trying to solve here in terms of pain points with other multi-sig options or other hardware wallet options?
Yeah, so maybe one of the first things is multi-sig at the moment is still a little bit out of reach for majority of Bitcoin users. The user experience of having multiple devices with setting them up over QR codes, having to export, XPubs and descriptors and load them into another wallet like Sparrow or Electrum, it's pretty tricky still. Even though it's getting better and better, it's still a little bit tricky. And one important thing in that is the recoverability of a multi-sig has a bit of a gotcha with needing a backup of the descriptor.
Right. So like in practice, that's like you keep like a Sparrow backup config file or whatever.
Yeah, or you have you've got a copy of your public key alongside every set of seed words. So yeah, the first thing is making multi-sig accessible, and that is to solve the problem of Bitcoiners storing their life savings in their home, which I think unfortunately still a lot of Bitcoiners do today, partly because they're a bit concerned or a bit they're a bit worried of how to set up a multi-sig.
They're overwhelmed.
Yeah. And that's why we see, so many successful collaborative custody models, or even, just not going self-custodial at all and going with a custodial option.
Yeah, for me, it's like the thing that I could not get over is that descriptor thing is probably the number one thing. It's not that I couldn't do it. Obviously, I could figure it out. Yes, I definitely can figure it out. But I don't really want to give that to my family. This particular problem and these particular issues and this description. So it's like that was the bridge too far for me. But I definitely have this problem that all my money was in my house, right? Right. And I really don't want that problem either. It's also a risk to my family. If everyone knows that I have all my money in my house, and if you're a Bitcoiner, you can pretty much assume, with a high probability that that's the case. In practice, that seems to work out. If you look at the wrench attacks and stuff, the ones where they actually just go into the person's house is like they're overwhelmingly successful. We don't have a great sample size yet because the attacks are not so frequent, although they seem to be getting more frequent. But like I was looking at it, it's like 16. There were about 17 attacks, and all but 2 of them like got all the money from the person. This is home invasion type attacks where they just go to the person's house. And the 2 that failed were really just because the guy fought them off. Like the one, there's one that probably people remember here, which is the one where there was like that streamer, like she was an OnlyFans, or I can't remember, she was like some streamer.
Yeah, and the like influencer in Texas.
The influencer in Texas, and the boyfriend shot them off. That is really, if they get into your house and you don't have guns, basically it's done. You're going to have to give them everything.
It doesn't really matter, but in her case, I think she had like $20 million on Coinbase. So like Coinbase probably wouldn't have let that transaction go through.
That's true, yeah.
Like it was still probably better for them that they shot him off. But and that's not as Bitcoiners, that's not the answer we want either. Is that like they're trusting a custodial solution? But in her situation, I know people that try and withdraw, $500,000 from Coinbase and they get flagged. So like I really doubt Coinbase would have let just a single $20 million withdrawal out.
Yeah. That's the tension there is really high because if she had been fully self-custodial in that moment and had done it, with a single hardware wallet and her boyfriend had not was not prepared, it could have been very, very, very bad. And so we don't want that tension to exist. We want self-custody to be the actual best way. Because Coinbase, they have a chance to get some money out at least. It's still an attractive target if and people have lost all their money from exchange accounts. Like that is actually what they frequently happens is the home invasions. They do it to someone who has an exchange account. They just they're forced to log in. They're forced to do everything. It's still a risk to have it in an exchange if you're because those policies they're not often catered to this kind of situation where you're getting coerced and it's definitely you, like they fully authenticate it's you. You've got your 2FA codes and everything, but it wasn't what you wanted to do.
On the exchange account, like that Multisig kind of solves or mitigates at least is the less morbid attack, which is actually more common, which is like the phishing or password compromises or reusing passwords or your email account, your 2-factor gets compromised. We see those attacks happen all the time. Yeah. And just from the way Multisig works, you're probably less likely to get successfully hit with a phishing attack, I think. Maybe single sig, you put in your seed words or whatever, but I don't really see the situation where someone falls for a phishing attack and is getting multiple devices, signing, putting in a Bitcoin address, confirming on device, sending.
That's what I'm really hoping. I think that is the case. There are people who will you will call them up and they will just give the seed words if it's a technical support thing or whatever. But hopefully, if you have to drive to a different location, a different hemisphere of the brain locks in, you're what am I actually doing here? A guy on Telegram is telling me to drive around town, and you stop at that point. So maybe that will just be it may be that the people save more money from just that fact, right? Yeah. You give it to people and they just have to drive to tell the guy on the phone their seed words, and it just saves a lot of money like that, putting wrench attacks all the way to the side.
Yeah, and I think that's that's an important part of multisig is not being able to spend your life savings in a matter of minutes. So yeah, even if you single sig solutions don't really have like you got a pin or whatever, but that's not going to stop you from spending all your money to an attacker in a matter of minutes, or even a scammer to be instantly tricked.
Lloyd, the live chat is complaining about your mic. What mic?
Yeah, is it better now, live chat?
Oh, it is better. That sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Were we on
Thanks,
it?
live chat.
Do we switch which mic we're on, or?
I just lowered the gain on it.
Okay, I think that's much better. I also lowered the gain on my side. I've been lowering the gain on my side. Speak again. What's the best hardware wallet?
Frostsnap.
Okay, sounds much better. Thank you, live chat. We do live. When I fixed the audio a little bit before we publish on the podcast app, so
Cool.
only the few people who joined us on so far have had that issue. Okay, so we're trying to make self-custody easier, make multi-sig easier, but how does it actually do that besides? Like, where does Frost come in? Why? I mean, that's the big thing here, right? This is the first major hardware platform, I believe, that is using Frost at its core. What makes that different from regular, good old-fashioned multi-sig?
So, in terms of the user experience of creating the wallet, I suppose you could do that with sort of a traditional multi-sig setup, but it's very natural to do with Frost. One of the reasons for that is when you create a wallet to use with Frost, it uses a protocol called distributed key generation, and what that means is it's not each device creating its own private and public key pair. Each device contributes some randomness to an overall key in sort of this key generation ceremony, and this actually comes with some very nice security benefits, where you can include the phone in this process. So the phone itself can also contribute randomness into the key, and so even if all the devices were malicious or backdoored, so long as your phone or your laptop is honest, you'll end up with a
basically, as long as one device is honest, right? Because
Yeah.
if your phone is compromised and the device is not malicious, you should be good in that situation too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, it's quite natural for Frost, and that's also one reason why we use the USB-C port. Like, we're not doing things over QR codes and things, is because there's a few rounds of communication in that process. So yeah, it's very natural to do in the setup how we have it. Yeah.
Then you got a single public key. That's one of the big advantage of Frost. You don't have multiple public keys, one for each hardware wallet. So no one can really see you're doing Frost on chain, and you get the same fees as the cheapest fees you can currently get on Bitcoin.
So it looks like a single sig on chain.
Yeah.
Because this is like extra protocol. This is outside of the protocol.
Yeah, it's like off chain. So instead of doing multi-sig in Bitcoin script, the multi-sig is done through mathematics called threshold signatures. And yeah, that's interesting. You end up with a single public key. And yeah, the privacy benefit is actually quite huge there, because at the moment with traditional multi-sig, if you buy something with your Bitcoin, you actually reveal to the whole world, I've got a 5 out of 8 multi-sig.
But isn't that kind of a good privacy leak in terms of like wrench attacks? Like that, because like crazy person comes into your house and is like, okay, where's your single sig wallet or whatever? But it's like, no, I'm using multi-sig. It's like, no, I saw your on-chain pattern and you're clearly using single sig. It's like, no, I'm using Frost. You don't understand. But I mean,
that may happen one day.
Specifically, yeah, I'm mostly joking. I mean, specifically, it's not really that bad of a privacy leak on regular multi-sig if you're using a normal, like a common threshold amount. Like if you're using 2 of 3 or whatever, there's a decent amount of 2 of 3s. There's a decent amount of 3 of 5s. But yeah, you're right. If you're using like 5 of 8 or something, there's like probably 4 people or like a couple organizations that are using 5 of 8, and then all those transactions are probably the same people, right?
It makes it much easier to follow through the chain, right? That's the chain analysis. But the obvious counterpoint to that is right now very few people are using Taproot, and so that'll be easy to follow as well. But if in an ideal world where everyone were using Taproot, it would be much more private in the sense of more difficult to do chain analysis, assuming some other things as well, like chain. I don't want to chain analysis. They're actually very effective. Everyone should know that. You're going to act pretty. It's pretty easy to follow change addresses and stuff through the blockchain.
Right.
And so, it definitely helps to have the same sort of script pub key on the chain, the same multisig as you follow it through.
Well, our listeners on Dispatch, I think, are pretty at least aware of the on-chain privacy trade-offs. But to the ones that might not be, basically it comes down to probability analysis. And so the blockchain's forever. They're doing probability analysis on whether or not Bitcoin has changed hands, if ownership has changed hands. And they use different heuristics to basically nail down that probability and make it more likely that they can track entities through the chain. And of course, obviously, the fact that the overwhelming majority of people are buying Bitcoin through KYC exchanges and attaching themselves to their identity at the entry and exit points makes that probability analysis much easier. Okay, so in terms of backup, so the setup process, I think, is relatively straightforward. I'm plugging in, let's say I'm doing a 2 of 3, or I guess if I have 3 hardware devices, is the phone one key too?
Not at the moment, but it still contributes to that key
randomness
generation ceremony. Yeah.
Okay, so I plug in 3 devices.
Yep.
I'm making a 2 of 3.
Yep.
Presumably the app makes that relatively straightforward. I'm like approving on each device as I go.
Yep.
Then I'm taking them apart and I'm putting, like one in an office, one in a safe deposit box, maybe keeping one at home. I have the phone to coordinate. Now, historically, the concern has been that you'd have some kind of hardware failure. So that's why we have offline backup. So what does that backup process look like? Am I keeping a seed for each?
Yes. So after you've created the wallet, the app will prompt you to run through the sort of backup process. And what that would look like is you plug one device into the phone, confirm to display the backup, and then it will present you a set of seed words.
On the device?
Yes, on the device. Yeah.
We in the design process, we really would have liked to avoid seed words, the same as like Bitkey decided they were not going to tackle that thing, and we would have liked to avoid it as well, because you've got redundant devices, so maybe it would be okay if you lost one device. But in the end, we felt we had to go with a full backup, solution. At least it's there, so that that each device has its own backup, and you could recover all the money without any Frostsnap devices or without Frostsnap software. And so there's a backup on each, but we're hoping, like, because of Frost, there's some tricks we can use to avoid actually having to have you enter the backup. So in the scenario you mentioned, like, your device fails, right? So you got a new device to replace it. Normally you would have to input your backup into the device in order to restore it, but actually we should be able to. We haven't implemented this yet, but the cryptography is all pretty much a solved thing. We can just take your other 2 devices and you say, like, I want to restore the share of this other device that was broken onto this new blank device, and you should be able to just go visit those other 2 devices and then finally go back to the new one and have it just fully restored without having to actually enter in the backup. Go ahead.
So my basic understanding of Frost is because it's outside of the Bitcoin protocol, would allow you to, like, basically do like a key rotation, add a new key after the fact without actually like creating a completely new wallet. In this case, would that be a completely new key with quote unquote different seed words? Or would that just be like restoring?
You could actually choose You can actually choose, do you want to recover that same share that you lost, or do you want to create an entirely new share that, it could go from a 2 out of 3 to a 2 out of 4 essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
You're basically just adding a key. The
Yeah.
threshold's still the same amount. It's still 2 blank, but you're adding a key to the total.
Yeah, and if you've lost that other one, then it's basically a 2 out of 3. Yeah.
And I'm assuming, based on your earlier commentary, that there's nothing else the user needs to back up. They just back up.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So yes, just one set of seed words per device. Yeah, and so if you lose the app, you lose the devices, and you've got a 2 out of 3, you can either get 2 new Frostsnap devices, enter the seed words onto each device to restore those backups, and then you're good to go. You don't need any descriptors or any other metadata. It's all contained on the Frostsnap backup sheet.
That's awesome. So what are your thoughts on, so these devices, part of your early design decisions to like make them easy to manufacture and more open do not have secure elements on them. Secure elements historically, one of the main use cases for them is to stop, physical tampering. How do you think about that theft mitigation? I'm keeping it at my office and I have an evil secretary who's very technically competent and compromising my device.
I think, for my opinion, it actually doesn't. Secure elements don't help with tampering that much. If you can actually tamper with it, like, get onto the chip, the main MCU, because we showed this attack called Dark Skippy.
Yeah.
Darkskippy.com if people haven't seen the video. But actually, that's sufficient. If you can just tamper with any device, you don't need to hit the secure element at all. As long as you can change the firmware of the device, when the user inputs their PIN, the secure element will release the key, and you'll do a signature on it, and that malicious firmware that we've put, that this technically competent maid has put on there, will send the seed over the Bitcoin network. And so I think the secure element actually is really about PIN numbers. So it's about protecting the seed, and so that only the person who has the PIN can actually get the seed onto the main MCU. So it's an authentication chip, basically, is the way they're used. And so we don't use authentication of the user through a PIN number. That's one design decision. It took a lot to come to it, but that's what one design decision we came to. The PIN numbers, when you look at the security model of a single SIG, and you have the PIN numbers there, what is happening is basically you're saying, okay, you have a cold card or something, or a Jade or whatever, any of these devices with PIN numbers, and that device may be laying around. It may be in a drawer or something.
Right.
And that'll take an attacker a short amount of time to find. Maybe let's say 15 minutes, right? If they're going around your house, they could find your hardware wallet in 15 minutes, but they wouldn't find your seed words in 15 minutes. That seed words, you're putting them in some super secure location that is really, I don't know, you buried them in the garden or something. It would take many hours or something. And so the PIN number is there to allow you to have that sort of convenience. I have this within arm's reach device with a PIN number, and I have these seed words that are not within arm's reach. They're going to be harder to get to or something like that. So that's the paradigm where the PIN sort of makes sense. For our paradigm, we're using the geographic distribution to sort of authenticate the user, if you like. It wouldn't help us much to put a PIN on the devices, because actually, in our design, we actually probably store the Frostsnaps with your seed word backup. Okay, so it's there isn't as much multisig. Then the reason we do this is multisig is just by definition inconvenient. There's not much point of within arm's reach devices secured by a PIN if you have to go on a drive to get it, right? It's never going to be convenient. It shouldn't really be convenient for your ultimate cold storage setup, right? You don't really want convenience. Is not really a super important feature. I mean, good user experience is, right? We want it to be easy to use and no foot guns and stuff. We want it to be inconvenient to spend all your life savings. It shouldn't be able to happen in a couple of minutes. So that's the reason why. Yeah.
Let's just go down this rabbit hole a little bit. First of all, Dark Skippy was a little bit a while ago. So just for a refresher, for my sake, I mean, I think, in Cold Card specifically, I think the secure element protects you from Dark Skippy.
You
specifically,
wouldn't be able to update the firmware.
If we can change
phishing words, right?
The
Specifically, the phishing words. Like you enter the first half of your PIN, the phishing words would be different.
No, because it's still the same everything. Like the same secure element. The phishing words would be the same. Like it's the same device. Like we're talking about like a maid who can actually open up your cold card and change the firmware running on the main MCU, but they can't break the secure element. Like this is a maid that doesn't exist, obviously. But if that such a maid existed, they could change the firmware.
But my point is that's why Cold Card has the two secure elements there. No, one of the reasons.
But it wouldn't like the secure elements just authenticate it's the pin. It's the right pin. So the main MCU is like taking those.
It's also protecting the secret behind the pin.
Right, but you're going to enter the correct pin, and you're going to see the correct words come up because it's the same device. We're not swapping out the device. We're just changing the firmware on the main MCU. So you're going you're going to see.
Oh, but I would see the big red light that says firmware attestation failed.
Right.
Probably yes.
The phishing words would protect me. The big red light would protect me.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's but if you can get around the big red light though. The big red light, actually, we can get if you can change the firmware, we can get around the big red light also. Because the big red, we can send the wrong firmware to the secure elements. So the issue is like the main MCU, if you do the signing on there, that's all you need to compromise. You don't need to compromise any other secure elements or whatever. It turns out the main MCU is actually very difficult to compromise, by the way. It's not trivial. Like people think that like, oh yeah, the secure elements like it's super impossible to compromise. The main MCU isn't, but actually, Ledger showed an attacks on the secure elements, but they couldn't do the attack because it seems like they couldn't pull off the one on the main MCU. But if you can corrupt the main MCU, you can corrupt the device. It is a very difficult thing to pull off. Okay, so you have to open up the thing. You have to take the chip out. You're gonna have to melt the chip or something, and put it back in afterwards, or put a different chip in afterwards, without breaking anything. But if you were able to change the firmware on the main chip, you can take the money. When you put in the user put it in the pin and they're none the wiser, they're running different firmware. Everything, the green lights and everything will happen because the main MCU will lie to the secure elements about everything. The secure elements don't know reality. They can only talk to the main MCU. So the main MCU can hide everything from them. And then when you put in your PIN numbers, you'll get the same words, check words come up, and you'll finish it up and you'll sign a thing, and your seed words will be in the signature because of that. So we don't,
I'm not here to get into a debate over the cold card security model, but I'm sure MBK will be insightful to me after this episode. Regardless of that, regardless of cold card specifically, and I would say that Ledger's shown attack or whatever was the previous generation devices. It cost like $600,000, I believe, partially because of the secure element. And then he added a second secure element and did some other stuff to harden it further and make it even more difficult. But besides all of that,
there's no attacker who's getting through those things that you will ever encounter in your life, for sure.
What stops someone from? So, like, I have a single device.
Yes.
We went through the maid. We're saying the maid. She would need to compromise multiple devices, I guess.
Yes, and not only that. So we actually do have some protection against an evil maid with Frostsnap. So the secret share that's on that device is actually encrypted. And the decryption key sits on your phone
or the computer.
Yeah, or the
wherever the
computer.
coordinator is.
So if the maid was to find your Frostsnap device and plug it into their phone,
Okay, that was my next question. Like, can they pull the seed or the key material off of this? And I guess
no,
it would be encrypted in that situation.
that's right. And so to actually learn that decryption key, that maid would have to visit 2 out of your 3 devices to essentially.
Oh, so that was my next question after that.
Uh-huh.
So like, if I lose my phone,
Yeah.
as long as I have as long as I have 2 of 3 devices, I'm still good if I lose my phone?
Yeah. Yeah. So it sort of falls back to the same security assumption. So if the maid can go and visit your 2 out of 3 devices, then they're essentially able to do recovery, and then they'll be able to spend your money. But if they only manage to visit one device, they can't do anything with it. They can start a recovery, but they can't start a signing session immediately. So for that,
that's the real reason why. I mean,
Yeah.
besides the fact that multisig is distributed, I mean, that's the real reason why you don't need pins or whatever. They're like the kind of pins for each other.
Yeah, and we sort of use the secure element of the phone. So to initiate signing on the Frostsnap device, you have to unlock your phone, which releases that decryption key to the device, and then you can do a signing session. So for an evil maid, they would have to, find one of your devices, start recovery on that device, leave it there, go find your other device, finish that recovery, and only then they would be able to go back to the first device and finish that signing session to spend the money. So it's still a lot of hoops, and that you've still got that geographic distribution stopping them from pulling off the attack.
That's awesome. Okay, but let's go through. So then what does I think actually a phone being lost is probably the bigger, most common thing that's going to happen to users. So what does that restore process look like?
Yeah. So if you've still got your devices, you can get a new phone, download the Frostsnap app, go and visit, your first device, plug it in. In the app, there's a button say, restore wallet, and it'll just start that recovery. The device will send a sort of a public share of its secret over to the phone. Then you would go visit your second device, plug that one in, and then you would finish restoration at that point, and the phone will learn the public key of that wallet at that point. It'll learn all the addresses, and it will learn the metadata, the decryption key that will allow you to go and sign again.
So if it's a 3-device multisig, I only need to go to 2 devices with the new phone.
Yeah, that's right. And if you don't have the devices and you only have the backups, then you can either get a blank Frostsnap device and plug it in and enter the seed words onto the device, and that will, restore the device that way.
Got it. That's awesome. Okay, that makes sense to me. So it's pretty fault tolerant. It's probably more fault tolerant than regular multisig.
Yeah, you don't have this descriptor issue, which is really nice. It's really, really nice. And there's some people, like, one of the problems with this the descriptor issue is like an add-on issue with it is you have to sort of store that private, not secret, that private information alongside your seed phrase, or maybe you upload it to Google Drive.
Right, it's a privacy risk, not a security risk.
Right, exactly. So if anyone finds that, they learn how much money you have, all the payments you've been making. And so some people try to split that descriptor up into parts with things like Seed Hammer. But it's sort of just started pushing the problem away. It's not making the UX much easier. I'll say that.
Yeah, for me, I can give this to my family, no problem. Just give these little devices, just bring them, plug them one by one into a phone, and the whole thing comes back, and you can just start signing and spending the whole thing right away.
Yeah, it seems pretty intuitive.
So it's mainly it is we have this technology thing on behind the scenes, right? Frost. We've tried to cover up any difficulties to the user, hide all those intricacies of the actual cryptography, and you don't really see it at all. Hopefully, our first users might run into a bug or two, but hopefully we've hidden that. And then in the end, what we've done is just try to leverage the technology just to make it simple, the UI and the UX really simple. So you can just each device is like its own thing, and as long as you have 2 out of 3 of them, you get all the money back, and it's really straightforward to get it all back.
I see
recoverability is the number one thing. Like I want my other people to be able to get the money, which is not what you really want to do mostly with hardware wallets, but you have to do it somehow. And adding more secrets to things and adding more pins and stuff is like, it improves security. Adding secrets to stuff always improves security. But like, it's not great if your life savings is in such a storage, right?
Right.
Such a secure.
Yeah,
what more people, we started,
yeah.
I mean, we started it off with people coming in your house, robbing you and phishing and stuff. But like most Bitcoin is lost by mistakes and overcomplicating things and foot guns, just users making mistakes. Well, before we get, I see some audience questions. We'll get to that in a second. But before we get to that, on to that point that you were just making, Lloyd, as a family man myself, and as a lover of multisig, one of the best parts of multisig in general is that inheritance question. That's, I'm get hit by a bus, or God forbid, or something happens to me. How does that Bitcoin pass down? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of clever ways you can handle secure sovereign inheritance here without a trusted third party. Instead of me just theorizing on it, how are you guys thinking about that? Is that a core element of a product offering?
Yeah, at the moment, I'd say like it's very like our first product, our Frontier edition is just you maybe make it like a 2 out of 4 or something. You got 2 for yourself and like 2 you want to leave with a friend and 1 with your wife or whoever, right? And then that's just you go away and they use the devices just to get the money
work
back.
Together. They bring their 2 together.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the way for our first edition. We have much bigger plans in the future about how to do things really well. Frost does allow us to do really interesting things here, because in addition to having this single public key and single signature on chain, you can have multiple access structures to the same money.
Okay.
So I could have a 2 out of 3 personally, right? But then for my recovery, I could have like a 3 out of 3, 1 with my wife, 1 with my best friend, 1 with my lawyer, or something like that, right? And so that 3 out of 3 is in parallel to the 2 out of 3 that I have. And so you can actually totally separate out the access structures and the devices, and that 3 out of 3 always stays valid. Let's say if I lose one device, I break a device, I want to get rid of one, I can change my 2 out of 3 without affecting that one, and that can stay there permanently.
That's cool. Yeah,
so that's a really nice feature of the mathematics that allows us to do that. We haven't gotten on to actually implementing that feature, but we will. So that's like the one thing. But then I guess like it'll be up to other people to figure out. Like hopefully we can have the tools available to let other people figure out how you use these Frostsnap Lego blocks to construct your security policy, right?
Yeah, but presumably you also have like, I mean, I don't know how you guys are thinking about it, but presumably you have like a handhold setup, and then you have like power user using their own creativity kind of setup, right? Like, I mean, I like that. I like the simple idea of maybe not 2 of 4. I like the simple idea of like a complete different set, right? Like a 3 of 3, and then this is like my inheritance set, right? And I just give 1 to each, 1 to 3 different confidants or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. If you think one of them are going to lose one of them, you make it a 3 out of 4 or something.
Because the 2 of 4 is a little bit weak too, right? Because all it really takes is one of them to then wrench attack you, or wrench attack the other one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit dicey.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So
what about like copying devices? Is that actually helpful at all? Or like if I have 2 versions of the same key, is that, I mean, I assume that would be relatively easy to do tech-wise. Is that actually something that's desirable?
It's actually impossible for us to stop because since you have the backup, you can just load the
Yeah.
backup into another device.
Should people do that, or is that discouraged?
We don't really know yet. I think for this first edition, we're sort of putting these the building blocks out there, and we're not giving like a strong opinion on what users should do. We're not even giving a strong opinion on how many they should buy. We're looking at making some things in the website, like sort of like sort of like a workflow where you can choose. I've got this many secret places and this many trusted people. And then it might give you a recommendation on how many devices and what threshold you might want to use. But to start off with, we're taking sort of an unopinionated approach. Let the users sort of decide what fits their scenario the best, and we'll learn from that.
Okay.
Yeah. The copying devices thing is like Nick said, is probably one of the first things we'll have to formally implement because you can already do it. It just it works. It just the UX is not super great for it. One of the problems with Frost, like the only downside that is there is that you have to choose which devices up front you're going to sign with. So when you start signing, like you create the transaction and stuff,
Interesting.
you have to say, I'm going to be signing with these guys. You can kind of hack around it. There are tricks to make it sort of in behind the scenes, just do lots of signing sessions in parallel so you don't have to worry about which ones end up getting signed with. But at the beginning, we're going to see how much of a problem this is if people like really hate that. But when you start cloning devices, you obviously have to start making the UX like take that into account. And so you have to like there's device, if I'm signing with this one and I have device A or device B from this one, but I can't use device A and B at the same time, obviously, because they got the same share. So you have to like update the UX a bit to understand that concept, which is going to be interesting. But one thing we did do is we already have, go ahead. We got one thing we did do is we have only one secret per device. Okay, to keep things simple, because otherwise things get. Originally we were having like as many keys as you want on each device, right? As part of as many different multisigs as you want, and that was madness to try and explain that in the UI and trying to get people to choose what to sign with and things like that. With devices having multiple shares of the same key, so one device could be worth more than another one, more special than others. Which sounds like a cool feature, and it did originally, but it was so hard to actually wrangle the logic and sort of present it to the user to understand. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is, like Cold Card, for instance, has found great success selling different color devices. So like as you guys scale, I mean, not only do just Bitcoiners or collectors, they like different colors, but like also from like
true?
an
Can you buy different colored cold cards?
So many different colors. We have all the colors.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So but it makes sense from like an organization point of view, right? Because like my blue one they could all be the same one. And like my orange one could all be the same one if you are doing the duplication thing.
Yes.
That's a smart idea.
And then in the UX, it could, you can name it. So then it's like, okay, I'm signing with blue and orange. And then it doesn't matter. Like they might be in different, I might have duplicates of them places, but I'm signing with blue and orange. And then you can kind of name
it. Yeah.
And then it's good for business because you just sell multiple colors.
Yeah, that was one of the first problems we ran into was when all the devices had the same color. It was very easy to create a wallet, and then you'd unplug them, and then you would go to sign, and you choose which devices you're going to sign on, and you start plugging them in, and you've mixed them up. You have no idea which one had which name. So we're giving them a color, and we'll be looking to present that color in the app as well in the future.
Oh, you are giving them, but you're giving them a color on the screen.
They'll have a name on the screen, but the device color will actually be saved on the device.
Okay. So it's exactly what I said. Multiple colors.
You can present that into the app. Yeah.
Show the colors there, Nick.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them.
Look, we were on the same page. Orange. There's no blue, but I did say orange. Of course,
we've got a blue. We've got a blue and a red. I just haven't got those ones yet. I'll be.
Those are clean. Wait, can you put them back up on the screen again?
Yeah, sure.
So is that an all metal case or?
That is an all metal case. Yeah.
Very nice. So you have 5 different colors.
Yes, 5 different colors. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so we were on the same page on that front. I had one more question. Oh, so what's the buying process like? They're up for pre-order right now?
Yep, they're up for pre-order on frostsnap.com. We're pricing them in sats. So 150,000 sats per device.
So they're on sale right now.
Yes, they're on sale. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're having a bit of a filter there, so only only very serious people are buying them, which is what we sort of want at the beginning. So this is our first batch, and it is just to support us because we need a bit of support at the moment to keep this project going. So hopefully we can get in there and pre-order and get part of the first batch. And I guess we'll be closing the pre-order thing at some point in the next few weeks as we start actually shipping the devices.
Yeah, so if I pre-order today, when am I getting my device?
Later this month, probably towards the end of this month.
And are you shipping from Australia?
Probably Malaysia. Likely Malaysia. We'll
How long does that take to get to America?
Whatever makes the most sense for you guys in the US.
Okay.
Your new tariffs.
Oh yeah, is Australia tariffed?
I think it's tariffs less than Malaysia, but I'm not up to date on that.
Yeah, we're less than Malaysia. Oh yeah, that's true. We're gonna have to. I don't know what was going on with the tariffs. Maybe Nick can tell us what the geopolitical situation is.
No, I haven't been following too closely.
So like so I would pick how many devices I buy, right? Like
there's a minimum of 3. You can use the devices as like a single SIG hardware wallet. Doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. You might as well get 3 or more. So we've set a minimum of 3 devices.
Pleb Devs is asking in the comments, I think we answered this question, but does each device have full group info? Is it also encrypted, or does that start on the mobile phone app?
Yeah, I think the group info, he means like the XPub probably, like of the whole wallet.
You just need 2 devices to restore. In practice, that's what it is. Right? If it's 2 of 3.
But the device has like this share of the group info. So not all the group info is on the device. It has a share of it. And if you get enough devices, then the phone you're plugging it into will be able to reconstruct the full group info.
And does that scale up? Like if it's an 8 of 10?
Yeah.
Do I need like 4 devices or something to recover? Or
no, 8.
5?
You always need the same.
I need 8.
I need 8.
I need 8 to recover.
You get zero information until you actually can restore inside.
Threshold. I need the full threshold.
Yes, we need the full threshold. We do have some information there. So we have the name. And user feedback would be helpful here. We have like the name of the device. And we have the name of the wallet it's a part of. So if you plug it, like if anyone finds your thing, it's going to be like, this is Matt's life savings.
I'm not going to name that, but fair enough.
Yeah. So don't name it that. But we have to figure out if that's a good idea or if people don't want to know anything. We thought it was like I'm thinking more like I want my family to sort of know that. It's like, oh, you found the right thing. Like this is the right thing. Good on you. You're making progress towards the thing. Then maybe give the cute name.
It'll say the wallet name, like the whole wallet name, and then also the device name, right? So it'd be like Matt Savings. And then it would be like Office or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Key One, whatever you want to name it.
Yeah, it has those 3 things. It has the number of the thing, the name you gave it, and the name of the wallet. And that's the 3 bits of metadata you get when you find a device.
Is there a physical limitation on how many of these things I can plug in?
We actually don't know what the limit is yet. I think the biggest we've done, is an 11 of 19, and we ran out of devices at the time, and that was on a phone.
You had 19 of these plugged in?
Yeah, and we made a key. So it's got to be higher than that. We'll probably find that out in the next few weeks, but it's pretty fun not to know. Maybe someone else can find out before us. Yeah.
I mean, it starts getting pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I think. The only maybe some really peculiar organizational situation that might be useful for that. You've got a flat hierarchy organization of 20 people or so, and you want to make 11 out of 20 or something.
I could definitely.
Organizations are a whole different thing, though.
Yeah.
This is just for personal savings. We don't have we haven't tackled organizations yet, but you can imagine there's like a million things there.
Or like
that you
user
can
access
leverage with
controls and
Frost.
stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of things, and the big one. I mean, one of the big advantages of Frost is that you could actually change out members of the organization with keys without changing the descriptors or the public keys of the wallet. Like if you have a multisig right now, you want to remove someone from the board or whatever, and they have a key in the multisig, you have to change, like you have to cancel the outstanding invoices or whatever of the company, and then do the thing and then reissue the invoices because those old addresses are no longer valid. And so with Frost, we can actually change it behind the scenes without changing the whole addresses organization and infrastructure. So that's one real big advantage, I think.
No, this could be amazing for organizations. I mean, multisig in general is amazing for organizations, but Frost multisig all of a sudden opens up a ton of huge possibilities. But you need like the actual UX to handle it all.
Yeah, exactly. A big one will be remote signing. So I can have my Frostsnap device and you can have your Frostsnap device, and we can be on the other side of the world, and we can both plug our devices in and do a signing session.
Is that available?
Pardon?
That's not ready yet, though.
Not yet. Probably 6 months or something. We'll have that.
And how do you see that? What is the transport mechanism?
I'd really like to use Nostr as sort of the communication layer for that. For the primary reason that you're not so dependent on Frostsnap as the company. So if the Frostsnap Nostr relay is not available, you can just plug in your own relay into the app, and you can communicate with your peer that way, and send Frost signatures over Nostr.
Yeah, I did a demo with Nostr. It worked fine. I think it's nice because you got the same kind of public key cryptography going on in Nostr, same kind of public keys, so you can sort of simplify things a little bit by choosing if you have existing Nostr kind of public keys and you verify that out of band, like you've got your different accounts, you can sometimes like choose these accounts
or whatever.
Yeah, contact list. You can choose them out of the contact list, and that sorts out a few issues in the cryptography that we have to finesse when you're just doing it with these devices in person. So we don't exactly know exactly where we're going to go with that, but you could imagine that you don't even have Frostsnap devices. You can just do Frost over Nostr. I guess Frost, our vision is that it is probably good to have separate devices for keys, and we don't know how it happens when you just want to add a guy to your organization and have a key on their phone or whatever. Probably that's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen just because the software is out there, and probably, I mean, even with the Frostsnap software we have already open source, you can probably just do that pretty easily. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the remote signing stuff in general that's part of the like organization building blocks. That's not like an individual doesn't really need remote signing, but like OpenSats needs remote signing.
Yeah, we need it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going to make excuses, but I definitely should have played around with the actual software before we had this conversation. So I look forward to doing that.
Yeah, please do.
It's fascinating to me. Like, I think it's like, this could be a game changer. I mean, the problem is like BitKey was cool because it made it easy for the average person, but it did take it made a lot of security trade-offs to do that. I mean, even if you think about like how you guys are only selling for Bitcoin, originally BitKey only sold for dollars, right? So it's like a completely different demographic in a lot of ways, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
But like the way I think about BitKey is like BitKey is more trying to protect you from messing something up. It's like kind of trying to protect you from yourself and create fault tolerance rather than securing you from sophisticated external actors. And that's a reasonable trade-off, I think, for a lot of people who like threat model does not include the NSA or big tech, or the NSA and big tech colluding together. But this seems to try and like you're making it pretty easy, pretty fault tolerant, but then also very secure. Like you're not really making that same security trade-off, which is that could be like the holy grail. That could be very, very helpful to boost self-custody and improve the current self-custody setups of a lot of people.
Yeah, we think so.
Kudos on that.
Yeah, trying to keep that same high level of security while not just adding more and more secrets to have that security, and so that therefore you have very easy recoverability, which is a very important thing in terms of security, being able to access it, not forgetting a PIN or a BIP39 passphrase or something, and losing all your money.
I have one more question for you. I mean, this is like bleeding edge shit, right? So, I mean, I don't know of anyone else doing Frost stuff on Bitcoin. Is there like, God forbid, you guys both die, or is there like, is there another wallet that I can restore Frost Bitcoin stuff on, or am I running like Bitcoin Core to do it?
It's a great question, a very important one. Yeah. So we're going to make a very small tool, probably like 100 lines of Python or Rust or something, that will take 2 of your seed phrase backups and basically squish them together and output an xpriv that you can load into Sparrow, Electrum, Bitcoin Core.
It just sweeps it to a regular wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. I think Lloyd's actually managed to vibe code one of these tools, to say, here's what the backup looks like. Give me the code that will output the xpriv based on these backups. And so
it's really amazing. So actually that changed the fact of the ability to vibe code or the AI, coding agents really, it sort of changed our opinion on the backup format. So I went trying to optimize for the ability to explain it to a computer and have the computer just generate code that does it. Actually became like one of the top design priorities of it. And so it ended up being that we just used BIP39 words. So they're not a BIP39 backup, obviously, but they just BIP39 words.
So it's the same standard.
With the with the same words, and it's got the number at the front of it. So which share it is, so which key it is in the multisig, and that's basically it. And a bit more checksums and some stuff like that. But basically, you just need to take the first 24 words. You put that into a SecP 256K1 secret key, so a sort of secret key that you would or normally use for Bitcoin, and then you just do this one mathematical operation between them, and then you get back the xpriv. And so you can actually explain that in like 3 bullet points to a thing and have it put out Python to get you back your xpriv. So that's one thing we've actually achieved in the design of the backup format. So it's 25 BIP39 words.
So what does that look like in practice? Like I do that, and then what do I see in Sparrow? Is it sweep? Is it doing a sweep transaction, or is it actually?
It would give
does
you the
it look like a wallet?
You would look like the wallet. So you'd have your xpriv.
My UTXOs would still be separate or whatever. It would be like a wallet restore. It's like a translation almost. It's not a wallet sweep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'd just be able to use it as a normal wallet in Sparrow with a private key.
Right. It's convert a hot wallet, but yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's better than the status quo of like with BitKey, you basically have to sweep. You can't restore the wallet in Sparrow.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
hopefully eventually like the Sparrow will be able to put in our backups directly and you wouldn't even need a separate tool. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone would do it, it's Craig. I mean, the guy's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume when I ask this question, it's like more of a. I mean, if you're bullish on Frost, then the idea is you're kind of setting the ball in motion, and you're like there should be like a Frost ecosystem of apps that will Frost Bitcoin ecosystem of apps that will develop over time. But in the meantime, it's important to have like the big exit button if I need to get out or something. something goes bad.
Exactly. Yeah. So it'd be much nicer if you could, not have to enter your backup on, a hot wallet. You could just enter that backup on another hardware wallet, and restore that way.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been great. I look forward to testing it out. Thank you for pushing the limit on self-custody and pushing the ball forward and trying new things. We need more of that. Before we wrap, let's wrap with some final thoughts. We'll start with Nick. Final thoughts.
Yeah. Just thanks very much for having us. If you want to support Frostsnap and the future of self-custody, you can pre-order now at frostsnap.com. And I think you'll have a great time, and your opinions on what self-custody can look like will be changed forever. So yeah, please buy some devices and try them out.
Love it. Thanks, Nick. Lloyd, final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, and thanks everyone for listening. Look forward to the future where you guys don't have all your money in your house. So let's get it done.
It's an important future.
Be your own bank, but not in your house.
Love it. Not in your house. I co-sign that. Guys, thanks for coming on. Freaks, you can go to frostsnap.com if you want to pre-order some devices. I'm going to put all of their links, Noster, X, whatnot, in the show notes. All the links for Citadel Dispatch are at citadeldispatch.com. Thank you to the freaks who support the show. You guys keep me coming in, week week out. There'll be another Citadel Dispatch next week. If you pay attention at primal.net/Odell, I'll let you guys know when it is. Hopefully we'll have the Nostr live chat up and running. For those who joined late, there's just been an ongoing DDoS on Zapstream that Kieran has not been able to get a handle of. So it is what it is. Lloyd, Nick, thank you for joining.